So when you are introducing something to a market, you need to make sure that you are building this new something, cloud, with top-level equipment. It's really important because when there is a lot of choice on the market, customers will prefer the best. Highest quality data center is essential because your bright new equipment is nothing if you cannot host it reliably 24/7 and scale. So the last but not least is an integration. Almost any customer you will encounter already have something. They have at least an experience launching something somewhere, or in a lot of situations they will already have their own equipment and vision of how to connect their current systems with services you provide. So let's dive a little bit deeper. What do we mean saying best on market equipment? There are different ways to build a cloud. We know a lot of. Sorry, could you please reduce the sensitivity a bit? Yeah, we know a lot of providers trying to save on costs, buying hardware secondhand, something subpar, not really reliable in a data center scale. We don't do that. We just cannot afford that, honestly, because we have experience showing that when something breaks and customer feels that on their services, they don't like it, absolutely. So we invest in best on the market equipment. Brief examples here are just we use Juniper routers for network connectivity, and we use modern models of CPUs, motherboards, and everything to build compute and storage. Another important part from our point of view is to be vendor agnostic. So we basically don't rely on some vendor. When we buy equipment, we never go HP, Dell, like those giants that you will be unable to get off the hook. So we prefer self-assembly, spare parts, and to understand how things work at hardware level. So in most situations, when we purchase something new, it comes with inside, I don't know, 20 different boxes. And we have guys that know how to assemble it, to test it, to tune something for better cooling or something, and we do that on regular basis. iColo provides us with an opportunity to store some spare parts in a data center for quick access, and we use it from time to time. By the way, iColo, we are international, Victoria have mentioned that. So we have our cloud regions in different countries, like in Middle Asia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and we are pretty large there. So we have a large share of market. We always choose best data centers and partners available on the market, and iColo here are the best among all of them. I mean, yeah, among all regions we have, and their remote hands, the technicians they offer super cool. At server level, we make things redundant. I mean, that means that almost each server piece of equipment comes with multiple electricity input, multiple network cards, just to reduce amount of time our customers don't have connection to the infrastructure in case of failure. So data center, you know, there are different points here. I've just put on the slide the most important. Probably they are not aligned from importance point of view, but rack power should be good enough. We are now in an era with high demand for AI. And when we launch a new point of presence, we always look for an opportunity to be able to scale, to add more equipment than we start from, and to be able to put GPUs and highly intensive calculations in a data center. And here iColo allows us to do that because they gives us a lot of power per rack. Network connectivity is another important part. Typically, when you launch something in a cloud as a customer, your own customers will access your services through like different types of networking. Some of them will use mobile operators, others will use like dozens of different home operators. People will be connecting to your services from office networks, that. So the better connectivity we as a cloud provider gives you, the better user experience from your customer side. Qualified engineers, have already mentioned that they're really fast, and we need them to be fast. So whenever something breaks in our cloud, and it happens, like it's just hardware equipment, it fails every day. Something we need to replace, like memory, disks. Customers typically not notice that, but we need qualified engineers that work fast, and iColo services us here perfectly. Last but not least, those certifications that on a data center allows us as a cloud provider to offer you highest service level possible. So, for instance, if you are building some financial system, if you plan to process fees, customer data, payment information, you need your own system to be PCI DSS compliant. If you host this system in a cloud needs to be PCI DSS compliant. And in order to be able to show you that this cloud should be placed inside a data center that is also PCI DSS compliant. So it's like a tiered structure. And we are here to solve even such complex tasks from our customers. Another point I've mentioned, it was I believe the third in the list, is redundancy. Most of you have been in the data center today, and you probably remember that almost any piece of equipment engineers showed you had a siren, right? So they show you like electricity input, and here's another one that helps the first one in case of failure. The same goes with networking, with batteries, with everything. So basically here on the cloud level, we just repeat the same measures that have been taken on a data center level. So this schema might be a bit hard to follow, but I will just show you top down. On top level, we have a data center level network equipment. This part on the left is responsible for connecting cloud with anything which is kind of external for the cloud in terms of cloud. It can be equipment you've brought on colocation in iColo. It's external in terms of our cloud, so it's like separate. And if you want to connect it to the cloud, it will be done through this global router. It's our own development feature. I will tell you a bit in details later. Access router, again, Juniper's top of market hardware, which allows us to process gigabits of data. On a lower level, we have different types of network equipment that allows us to build highly available clusters. So we can scale with rows of racks. One row is for one cluster, another for another. Using this architecture, we make sure that the cloud, in case of failure, won't fail and whole. Only part of it will, for some reason, might eventually fail, but another will work. And on the lowest level, there is a bunch of compute nodes, which are used for calculations. Virtual machines have been launched there, and a storage layer. I won't mention that in details later today, but we use storage that is highly scalable. So we can scale from, I don't know, 50 terabytes of data up to 100 petabytes. It's not a problem. System works it out well. And the last point in that recipe to build a cloud that rocks is to make integration easier. If you target with your solution on customers with an existing infrastructure, you will have a challenge, because typically the easiest way to go to the market is to offer some basic services like launch a VDS, like separate virtual machine with public address. It's not a big deal, like in terms of complexity. You just launch a cloud, you can use vendor solution to do that, and you're ready to go. But if your customers need to connect their infrastructure, which already exists, with something in a cloud to be able to scale and control everything through through unified interface, you will have to work a bit more. So in terms of hybrid networking is a thing that allows customers to integrate something they already have with cloud to solve problems of scaling, to be able to not let some external contractors to inside in their on-premise infrastructure, just let them launch something, but in a public cloud separately. Many other use cases exist. And we solve a bunch of problems in this area using our feature Global Router. A Global Router is a networking solution. We use our own software-defined network mechanisms that allows us to provision networking on routers, on physical routers, basically. This solution allows us and our customers to apply routing settings on these physical devices. For instance, if you have some resources at Servercore Cloud here in Nairobi, and you have resources in AWS somewhere in Europe, it doesn't really matter. You will be able to connect those infrastructure in some other provider with your cloud infrastructure at Servercore. You will see those networks inside a control panel. You will be able to alter routing steps and all those settings, rename, add new networks, new subnets, and the same experience you will have also if you bring some equipment on colocation here on iColo. And even if you have your own equipment in a in your own data center inside an office, you will also see those networks inside a cloud. So I have kind of 3 slides showing our control panel. So I'm not sure, guys, if it's visible. Good. So it looks like that. So you just create a network. In the easiest setup, you can do everything completely on your own. Like you just use control panel and you are good to go. You connect your cloud with, for instance, Servercore bare metal solutions. So you can rent physical servers, connect them with cloud, not talking to anybody, just by yourself. Through this control panel, for connections which are outside, bringing something which is outside from Servercore Cloud to the cloud, you will have to contact our support team. They will help you to establish those connections because it's kind of tricky. It's not easy to do everything by yourself, but our team is ready to help. In the end, when you have everything set up, you will see all those networks inside a control panel. Your whole team will be able to do the same job as you've done previously. So it gives you a very good visibility on everything. We even have such visualization. So this router is in the middle. You see that there is in this example, there is some network, some office network, from Westland's office. some cloud network and some bare metal network. So these are just screenshots from control panel in my account. You can test everything and build something like that. So another important feature to have when you want to to help customers with established business is identity integration. So typical organization try to avoid problems with identity management. Sorry, yeah. So a typical organization has something like Active Directory. You probably know what that is. It's a kind of IT service which lists all the employees you have, and you can base different role access scenarios based on that information, from that catalog. And other solutions in that field for people that are not using Microsoft stack might include Keycloak, Google Workspace, or any other identity provider. And if it has an ability to connect with using SAML protocol with some external mechanisms, you are good to go to connect it to Servercore Cloud. So what you will achieve with that? A specific team in your organization, which is represented inside your Active Directory or Keycloak, will be able to access the cloud using credentials they use to log in your internal systems. For example, in our case, we have our own private cloud for our own needs, and we are using LDAP to store our everything. So our engineers, when they log in to something like Jira, Confluence, I don't know, anything, they use their own credentials. They just type their name and a password, right? And when they go to our private cloud, they are doing the same. Again, there is no something external, some extra identity. They just put the same login and password, and they access resources they've been granted access to. So it's a kind of standard approach for companies that go out, scale out of their infrastructure and going somewhere outside. Again, last but not least, super feature we have, which is not really visible through our website and control panel yet, but we're working towards it. Private segments inside the cloud. We know that customers that get used to work with on-prem something, they like to control everything. They like to have greater visibility. They tend to kind of know what exactly they need. And sometimes it happens, they come to our cloud and see no process of the model they get used to. Or probably they need more gigabytes per virtual machine of RAM, of storage, or something. In such cases, we are unable to provide a solution for such requirements in form of a public cloud, because public cloud needs to be consistent. It's in terms of hardware, in terms of settings. We cannot alter it way too much. In such cases, we offer an opportunity to launch a private segment. So inside a control panel, it will look like specific pool, which is available only to one customer. So when you log into your account, you will see an ability to launch virtual machines, manage databases, manage Kubernetes, anything in this separated segment. These segments include compute equipment. These are for virtual machines, and it can include private storage and backups. This is highly customizable thing we do per customer. So if you have a request, we will make calculations and we'll come to you with a project for integration. After we set up everything, you'll just walk through a control panel using automation you got used to, and it will be like zero barriers between public segments of a cloud and your own private, customized everything. And that's all for today. Yeah, we promise to be quick, so we have time for questions if you have any, or for networking.